As you're seeing this video, I will recently have turned 42 years old, and it got me thinking because I am seeing quite a few things on social media right now about makeup and beauty and skincare in your 40s, and it's all about looking as young as possible, and it's also about looking as flattering as possible, and a lot of it is also about looking age appropriate. And if there's one thing I have never cared about at any age of my life, it is looking my age. What even is looking your age? I feel like I look 42, and there's nothing wrong with looking 42. We always try to give compliments to women. Oh my God, you look so much younger. I don't really think I look younger than I am. I look 42. I am 42. I feel like we have this view of how people look in a certain age. So you look at what your mom or maybe your aunt or your uncle looked like when they were in their 40s, and it's not necessarily about like skin. It is about like appearance. So they were wearing cardigans, so now I have to wear cardigans. That's not how that works. We all find a style that we like, and the people my age, when we get to be 60, 70, 80, we are still gonna be wearing the things that we liked from our 20s and 30s. My grandmother grew up in like the 30s and 40s, so she still wore those kind of clothing until she died. And that's how we think that people that age should look. Somehow we should be transported back and wear things that were popular in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. That's just not how aging works. So in today's video, I am going to be going through my current, like what I think about when I do my makeup, and talk about the things that I am definitely not changing about growing older. But I also want to quickly touch on the things that I do change, because there's definitely been some changes with like me, and I want to talk about that as well. Because even though I refuse to act my age, because I am acting my age. I am my age. Like, what do you mean? I also realized that there are some things that I definitely have changed. And that brings us into today's sponsor, because one of the things that I have truly changed with growing older is my skincare. And today's video is sponsored by Mimra. Mimra's products are produced in Korea, and a lot of the ingredients in their products are things that are very hyped up in Korea right now, together with a lot of clinically proven ingredients that will work great for your skin. Mimra's motto is help you create kissable skin, and I definitely have had help with that. I've been using them for quite a bit now, and it has been absolutely wonderful. So I have a 3-product routine here with you, and I am all about creating a smaller and minimized routine to help you actually stick to your skincare routine. So these 3 steps have been perfect for me. For the daytime, I only use 1 or 2 of these. For the nighttime, I use all 3. The first product I use in my routine is the Volume Up Time Block Serum. This is a beautiful, like milky, almost like a little bit of a thicker serum, which is my absolute favorite when it comes to serums. This one has 2 active ingredients, one of them being volufiline, and clinical tests shows that volufiline signals skin to create more fat cells and thicken skin fat cells in the dermis, and thereby plumping the skin from the inside out. And the clinical test also shows that it works best at a concentration of 5%, which is what this serum has. This will help plump up your skin and smooth out your wrinkles over time, which is perfect if you have a little bit more mature skin, which I do. The serum also contains 40% beta-glucan, which is more effective than hyaluronic acid and really helps to hydrate and plump the skin. My skin feels so wonderful with this like plumping hydrating serum. It really feels just so hydrating waking up in the morning. The next 2 products both have niacinamide in them, which is an ingredient that my skin absolutely loves. This helps with fading dark spots and with just giving brighter, more even skin. The niacinamide dark spot ampule has a really interesting way of distributing the product, that I really like because it makes it easier to get it on the skin and not get it all over. So the applicator really helps if you just want to put it somewhere to just brighten up some dark spots, or like me, I put it on where I have a lot of dark spots, and then with my fingers I just evenly distribute what's left on the rest of my skin. The dark spot ampule has niacinamide that inhibits pigmented melanin from coming up to the surface of the skin, and the cream also has thioctic acid, which is an incredibly popular ingredient in Korea, but not very well known outside of Korea. It is a great ingredient for fading existing dark spots and hyperpigmentation. The third ingredient being NAD Biome, which is also super trendy in K-beauty right now. It is a great antioxidant ingredient, and with topical use can help with dullness and just brighten your skin. This one is a thinner cream and usually more of a daytime cream for me. This one is more of a creamier and more hydrating cream, and it is perfect for me during nighttime. Although I will say right now it's kind of chilly in Austin, and I was thinking let's do a little bit more of a hydrating cream before I go in with my makeup, because like I said, this is something that I have noticed with my skin. I do have to change up my skincare. The older I get, the more moisture I have to add to my skincare. Even though I have oily combo skin, my skin still wants moisture. I'm gonna use a little bit today just to get a little bit of hydration going before we go in with the makeup. Always remember to let your skincare sink in a little bit before you go in with your makeup. It's gonna create the best surface. Mimoa is an amazing skincare brand that not only has really great products with really great ingredients, they are also an affordable brand. So definitely check them out down below in the description box. They're sold at a bunch of different places and I will link them down below. And like I said, I've been using this for quite a bit because I wanted to make sure that this was actually working out for me. If you didn't know, I don't necessarily have sensitive skin, but I have very eczema prone skin. But these products are made with sensitive skin in mind, and even if you have rosacea or eczema like me, you can still use them. And like I said, I've been using them for a bit and I've had no eczema flare-ups and my skin have been looking and feeling wonderful. So I'm gonna let this sink in for a little bit and we can start with the makeup, but skin is looking and feeling wonderful. Thank you so much, Mimoa, for sponsoring this video. Like I said, check out more details in the description box down below if you want to see where you can get these products. They also have a bunch of other really cool products that you can check out down below. So we're a little bit zoomed in and I am going to be using something that I really love, and I 100% recommend you checking this one out if you are looking for something that's like a mix between a skin tint and a foundation. Because I will say, one of the things that I have noticed with getting older is that I still like foundation, but I also sometimes go without foundation and just do a little bit of concealer. But the thicker the foundation is, the weirder it's gonna look on my skin. So I am looking for something, regardless of how it is formulated, regardless of what kind of texture you're saying that you're gonna be having, I need it to be thin in consistency. Because that is something that I've noticed. The thicker it is, the worse it's gonna look on my skin. And that's the same with concealers. They'll tell me, oh my God, this is so creamy. And to me, that makes it sound like it's gonna have the consistency of porridge. I cannot do those super thick concealers. They just end up looking incredibly heavy on my skin. So if you do not have very dry skin and you also suffer from concealers just looking incredibly heavy on you, it might be that the concealer that you're using is just a little bit too heavy in consistency. It creases, it moves around, and even though you're using powder, it might crease, and if you're using enough powder for it not to crease, it looks incredibly heavy on your eyes. This foundation has a very healthy glow without being glossy or greasy. Again, I have oily combo skin, but it just looks incredibly healthy on the skin. It lasts all day and it gives you that healthy glow without looking greasy. You look like you need a shower. Nobody wants to look like they need a shower. We want to look healthy, because I will say a little bit of glow to your skin can be really nice once your skin starts to age a little bit, because you are losing a little bit of that plumpness and a little bit of the radiance. But for me, when it gets to be too glowy and then my own oil starts seeping through, it's just a no-go. This is my favorite concealer right now. This is the Lancome All Over Concealer. If you have a favorite concealer, I blended really badly. If you have a favorite concealer that you really like and you also have a little bit of mature under eyes, please let me know. This is how I put my concealer. I put it down here, but then I blend it out. So I don't put very little concealer, but I also don't overdo it. I do think sometimes we do get those like cookie cutter tips where it's like, this is how you need to do your makeup when you're in your 40s. If you still like to have full coverage under your eyes, if you still like wearing full coverage foundation, if you still like glitter and sparkles and faux freckles and bright pink blush, listen, you can do whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you that it doesn't work for you because of your age. The only thing I'm saying is that sometimes we need to change some things up to work with some fine lines, with maybe some wrinkles, maybe with some skin losing a little bit of elasticity or a little bit looking a little bit dull. And for me, thinner products, but still setting them with powder. I know some people are very against powder. For me, powder is an absolute must. But I try to not bake, because we're not baking. I'm using the, oh my God, I've used this so much that there's not even a sign on it anymore, but this is the powder by Glamlight. This is the translucent one. I really like it. And I'm using a Singe Beauty Poof, and I will put it in, and I will like work it in a little bit. And then you see here, This is creasing. I see sometimes people being confused what is wrinkles and what is creasing. So wrinkles, I can't get rid of. They are where they are, but the creasing is when the makeup gathers like this. That's creasing. So creasing and wrinkles are two different things. And the creasing is what happens when products bunch up, either in your hood, maybe if you have hooded eyes, or in your wrinkles. So that's why we are setting our concealer to get rid of the creasing, not the wrinkles. We can't get rid of the wrinkles, unfortunately. No product can do that, but we can get rid of the possibility of things creasing throughout the day. And I'm setting my under eyes, and I'm using a little bit extra around my T-zone because, again, I have oily skin. I'm using whatever's left on the poof a little bit in my forehead and on my chin, but I am baking around my nose because that is where I am the most oily. I don't bake under my eyes, I don't have oily eyelids, and I don't have an oily under eye. I do want to set my under eyes, but I don't want to be baking because I don't need my under eyes to be baked. But I do like having a little bit of baking around my nose because it prevents me from having too oily skin too quickly. So we're gonna leave that for a little bit and I'm gonna do my brows. One thing I've really been enjoying is making my brows a little bit slimmer lately because I normally have very, very slim brows. And I feel like I'm right now in a phase where I enjoy doing my brows a little bit slimmer. It's been fun. I'm gonna do a little bit of lip liner. This is my own brand, Cinch Beauty's Brazen Birch. It's not very large. That's what she said. It's getting down there. This is like a pinky nude on me. I absolutely love this color. I think it is a beautiful, on me, it is like a slightly more brown, your lips but better on my skin tone. So I'm gonna use this one and I am gonna go over it with a matte liquid lipstick because listen, you can still use matte lip products. You just need to, work with it a little bit. And I will say, the older I get, the more I need a lip liner because otherwise my products are going to be all over the place. And the main thing to remember when you are using a lip liner to be as a guard, it's just keeping your lip products inside your lips, is to, of course, not put the lip products all the way out to the edge. Let your lip liner be that last millimeter out into your face. So don't put the lip gloss all over because, then it's going to be bleeding anyway. So I'm going to do one of my favorite matte liquid lipstick formulas, which is the ABH one. So the tip is to get one that is a mousse formula that doesn't dry down because those will not dry out your lip. Because again, the older you get, the more dry everything is. I agree with that. And still I get an oily T-zone, but still things are dry. It's fun, y'all, okay? It's fun for the whole family. This one is in Pure Hollywood. So it is a fully matte lipstick, but it doesn't fully dry down, so it actually feels really good on the lips. This is definitely something I would look into. If you want to do like matte lipsticks, but you don't want them to dry out your lips, try one of these mousse formulas that doesn't dry down. So this is the RMS Satin Bronzer, and I love this because it is not overly pigmented and it has this beautiful glow that just really looks stunning on the cheeks. I cannot recommend this formula enough. I absolutely love it. And I think, again, if you're looking for things to just look not too sharp and just glowy and beautiful, this bronzer is just stunning. It's like a baked gelée formula. Because again, I'm not gonna stop doing makeup, but I can think about what things are gonna look less harsh on my skin, what things are just gonna make more sense for the way that my skin is behaving right now. And for me, those super matte, very pigmented bronzers are just gonna feel a little bit too much. Again, you don't have to do a matte cheek just because you are above the age of 22. I'm gonna do a somewhat glowy liquid blush. This is an Ubi Cream, and I am gonna put the new Cinch Beauty Fearless Fig on top. I love this lavender combo. It gives me really like lifted and pigmented lavender cheeks with a lot of glow. I think the main thing to look after when we are doing more glowy cheeks is to get a formula that is a little bit more glowy and shimmery over sparkly and glittery. But with that being said, you can still do glitter too. Listen, I'm gonna even put on a glitter highlighter because here's the thing. You know, a lot of people will be like, oh, but if you do glowy, it's going to show your pores. I will have glowy pores every day of my life because it is about what makes you feel good. I don't want to have a matte cheek, even if people say it's more flattering, even if people say it's not going to show my pores, even if people say it's going to make me look younger. I don't care. What is the point of going through life looking pretty if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying like the process of putting on makeup? So this is what the cheek is looking like right now. And we're going to do a little bit of this on top. I'm actually going to be using the more fluffy brush that I use as a highlighter brush. This is the F07, but it also works beautifully for a blush like this if you just want to have like a sheer layer in a targeted spot. And I'm just doing a little bit to have a little bit more of the highlighted lavender and just spot this a little bit on top. I've been wearing this combo quite a lot and I'm so excited that I now can talk about it. This is, of course, a very true lavender blush. If you've been feeling that some lavender blushes have been leaning a little bit too pink on you, this one definitely is more of a lavender. If you're looking for something that's more of a pink, I would go for the Likeable Lychee instead. The one that is like a mauve pink. That one is more like a cool tone pink with a slight lilac undertone, and this is more like a lavender. That's the difference. But this is the result glowy lavender cheeks. I'm sorry, but I love it. And I don't have to tone it down. That's not the point. I'm actually going to try this glitter highlighter. This is by Moira. This is one of those jelly highlighters. It's not as jelly as some of those other things were, but you can see, oh my god, it's sparkly. This light is. You can tell the closer you get to the light, the more glowy you get. Oh my god, look at that cheek. Look at that. Ugh. Beautiful. But I really want to try this. So I think I'm going to do just a little bit like the same brush and I'm working it in and you can see there is sparkle and I'm just going to add a little bit on top because again, like I said, sparkle and texture and stuff like that can make, you can see this like the fine lines a little bit more, but does it matter? Because again, are we trying to look 20? I don't think anyone's buying that. I'm not trying to look 20. I'm trying to look like fun. I'm trying to look like I am a bunch of fun. And I really think that this is pretty much doing that. Okay. I used to not like sparkly highlighters at all, but now I'm like, you know, leaning into them a little bit more. And this is definitely a sparkly highlighter. It comes in other shades as well. The shade that I have is Icy Glow. Icy Glow is the one I have, which is like a pink going to like gold, I think. Okay, let's get into eyeshadow because again, some people seem to think that we need to be demure and beige and just only do satin shades and whatever's flattering. I don't care about that. I want to be as bright and bold as possible. I'm actually going to be mixing the new palette by Cinch Beauty, which is the Succulent Dew. We just released this with the Agate Temptation that we released last year. And I'm just going to do a combo with those because I think this has a bunch of greeny shades. And I want to do something like olive. And then I want to use the berry from this one. And I want to do that and show you that you can do something fun and then we'll contrast a little bit. But I feel like we've been talked into this way that we're supposed to do eyeshadow when we get older. And I'm here to tell you, you can do whatever you want. Whatever makes you feel happy and that feels great for you, that's what you can do. What we can do though is to be better at it. We can like work and trying to be even better at our blend, even better with a placement. And that is definitely one of the things that I've noticed with age that I have to think even more about the placement because I have this really big hood here. So I have to think about how am I going to do my placement to not make that look weird? I also have to think a little bit about formulations because some formulations will crease on me. And that is one of the things that I took into consideration doing the formulations for the Cinch Beauty eyeshadows is that I need something that doesn't crease as much because I feel like some formulas are so beautiful, they're emollient, they're like wonderful, but they have a tendency of creasing a little bit. And I was like, well, I don't want that. So I'm basically just here to let you know that if you also have problems with creasing, there are definitely brands out there, that is a hair, that do formulas that don't crease as much. And I am definitely not by a long shot the only brand that does this. I'm going to start with the burgundy out here. This one is called Live Forever. This palette has shades that are named, the matte shades are named after succulents, and the shimmery shades are named after different like water adjacent names. So I'm putting this out in the outer corner, basically like this. One thing that I've also noticed is that putting a little bit of just upwards in the outer corner really helps me to lift my eyes now with age, and my eyes are starting to droop down a little bit. So it has been a way for me to be able to experiment with color and have a lot of like depth, dimension, and fun out here without this entire part just eating up all the work I'm doing. So I'm instead putting the depth out here to take focus away from the crease. I've always loved colorful makeup. I've always loved colorful clothing and colorful everything. And I feel like it's weird to assume that just because I'm older, all of a sudden my taste is going to change and I'm all of a sudden going to just be into beige. If that is what happens, if that is how you're feeling, maybe you've gotten older and you realize, you know what, I prefer more natural tones. That's perfectly fine. But I just find it so weird that we are somehow assuming that everyone is all of a sudden going to be very into beiges and browns and neutral tones just because they've reached a certain age. I am already planning stuff that I would like to have in my next house, in my next home, because I am moving during 2026. And none of those options are like a clean white or a gray or a beige. It's not who I am. It's never been who I am. And I don't think that age will ever change that. And I think it's weird that we somehow assume that we're going to be changing our flavor or our taste in so many big things that could be part of our personality just because we age. So I'm gonna do Moss, this one here, and I'm gonna do that. Now you can see I'm getting a little bit of, you see the creasing I talked about because of the hood. So I'm gonna take that away so we don't set the crease. And with Moss, I am gonna put that in the inner corner. Or like in the inner part of the crease, I should say, not the inner corner. You see how well those go together? Stunning. Absolutely stunning. I'm gonna buff this out, and then I'm actually gonna put a little bit of this and buff out this edge here and make these belong. I accidentally blended some of the sparkle from the highlighter into the, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to be using Dew, which is the holographic duochrome, and I am going to be using that one because I want some contrast, and this is not the brush not the brush we're using. All my brushes are the Cinch Beauty brushes. They need to be clean though, but that's something I should be doing, but I have been way too busy with other things to be doing that. I am going to spritz it. I spritz pretty much all of my shades almost all the time. Mainly because I want as low fallout as possible, and I want to be precise with them. Like where I put my brush is where they fit down. And you can see here, it's like a silver to blue with a lot of holographic particles in it. They're going to look amazing in low light or in sunlight. And I am just so excited about this shade. I think it is beautiful. And it really contrasts this entire look. It's just cool and warm and all of these different things that are just honestly fun. They're just honestly fun. I mean, what can you say? So fun. And I'm gonna put a little bit more of the dark shade out here. Ugh. So excited. Again, you can wear shimmer. Just make sure to use a formula that doesn't feel as like creamy and emollient, because those swatch beautifully. But if you have hooded eyes like me, you're gonna have to babysit that shadow because it is gonna crease on you. And there are shadows out there, not saying that mine is the only one, there are definitely other shadows out there that are formulated to just be long wearing. And if you don't have any problems with creasing, I mean, this message is not for you, but if you do, think about the the texture of the shadows that you are putting on. Of course, the more emollient that it is, of course, the more it's going to be like moving around and creasing, especially some of those that are so emollient that they don't even necessarily ever set down. This is the look, and you know what I want to do? I want to do Avonia, which is this baby pastel blue that has a little bit of a sheen to it. I love using a matte as like either a lid shade or an inner corner highlight. And I love when they have a little bit of a sparkle in it because I feel like it really accentuates just the brightness. So I'm gonna put that in the entirety of my... Look at that. Oh! Again, we are working with contrast. One of the things that I will say, I used to love a like duochrome or like a very shimmery or bright or metallic or those iridescent shimmers in my inner corner. The older I get, the more I've realized that those just look kind of weird on me now with all my texture and the folds and the wrinkles that I have. Not that they're ugly or that I'm ugly, it's just that because of all the texture that I have there now, they're kind of catching the light in all kinds of weird ways and they don't really look that flattering anymore. Those shades look the most flattering on a kind of a smooth surface. So that's why I've realized that mattes or even a matte with a little bit of a shimmer particle in it is just absolutely beautiful for my inner corner because it smooths those little texture things out and makes everything just look bright and smooth. And that's how I have been enjoying doing my makeup. If you have never tried a matte inner corner, this is my call to action for you. Go try it out. Honestly, it's really beautiful. That is my finished look with the sparkly cheeks and the sparkly lids and the lavender blush and the matte lipstick. And you know what? I'm 42. I look like 42 and I feel like myself. That's the most important thing. I don't want to have to change because this generation or the generation before, the generation after, have this idea of how people in their 40s are supposed to look like. I'm in my 40s. I get to decide what I look like. And I hope that if nothing else you take from this video, you are your age and you're allowed to look any way you want to. You're an adult, okay? You get to decide for yourself. Whatever makes you feel happy, whatever makes you feel great. The world's already crazy as it is. At least let us face the world looking the way we want to look. However that is. So I hope this video was fun. I hope I was able to talk to you about the things that I've changed and the things that I haven't changed. The biggest thing, of course, being skincare, because I can definitely tell a difference when I am sticking to my skincare routine. I always have pretty decent skin. I try to be nice to myself and say that I like my skin. I feel like that's step one. I like my skin. It's taken me this far and I'm happy to have it with me for the rest of my life. I like my skin, but when I do a good skincare routine, I can definitely tell that it's doing even better. So thank you so much, Mimoa, for coming and sponsoring a video on my channel. Really have been enjoying these products. My eczema has not flared up. My skin is feeling plump and hydrated. What's not to like? I will leave all the details in the description box down below, together with the things that I'm wearing on my face today. Let me know how you feel down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you soon in a new video.